Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching Georgia Beer Reviews. Back at you today with another one. And what I'm looking at is another beer from Line Creek Brewing Company out of Peachtree City, Georgia. This is another one of their Ain't Fraid of No Gose series. This is the Imperial Tangerine, Episode 3. It is an Imperial Gose aged in brandy and Chardonnay barrels. It clocks in at 8.0% alcohol by volume. I've never had it. Very excited to try this. A Gose aged in brandy and Chardonnay barrels sounds amazing. So Peachtree City is like 15 miles down the road. Very local craft brewery. I've had a lot of their beers. Most of them are excellent. All of them are at least good. So I have very high hopes for this beer. I love Goses, sours. So this should be right up my alley. I love the fact that they barrel age it in brandy and Chardonnay barrels. There's the appearance, very hazy, deep orange color. Nice bubbles. I don't know if you can hear that. Nice carbonation, very fizzy. Pour with about a finger's worth of a white, somewhere in between frothy and creamy head. I'm already getting the tangerine, so very citrus forward on the aroma. Picking up a little bit of the Chardonnay. A little bit of the brandy as well, but Chardonnay is the first thing that I'm picking up on once I get past that tangerine. So the Chardonnay barrel seems to be a little bit more prevalent than the brandy barrel. It smells very tart. It smells like it's going to be a very tart beer. Let's see if there's any other information on the label here. Beer and tangerines living together, mass hysteria. That's the only other thing it says, so really no information about the beer other than that it's an Imperial Tangerine Gose aged in brandy and Chardonnay barrels. So the beer smells very good. It smells fruity, citrusy with the tangerines. You're getting some of the barrel presence on the aroma, maybe a slight breadiness, a little slight wheat breadiness. That's pretty much it. As you can see, the head has already died down. So without further ado, let's get into this brew. Cheers. Woo! Very tart. Very tart. The tangerine is coming through very nicely. You're getting that barrel presence, some nice sweetness, some wood. The Chardonnay is coming through. The brandy is actually coming through a little bit more on the palate than it was on the aroma. So the Chardonnay and the brandy nicely balanced on the palate. Very, very tart. A little bit of salt on the finish. Nice sweet breadiness in the middle of the sip. The 8% alcohol masked exceptionally well. Carbonation nice and fine and prickly on the high side with the carbonation. The finish is pretty refreshing. The barrel presence continues to build as I sip on it. And you know what? That the barrel presence lets you know that this is a higher ABV beer. Although it's not super boozy and the alcohol's not really coming through that much, I can tell that this is a higher ABV beer. When you've been drinking beer long enough, like I have, you can just tell. Even though it's not very alcohol forward and boozy, the barrel presence is coming through. There's a lot of complexity in flavor that I'm getting from the barrel aging. And you can just tell that it's a higher ABV beer, but it is a super smooth, high ABV beer, and you could down this if you want. I mean, it's not a sessionable beer at 8%, but you could get carried away and drink this very quickly because it is so dang smooth. The finish is semi-dry, almost like wine. It almost has like a wine finish, like Chardonnay It's a very dry wine, and the barrel presence that I'm picking up on from the Chardonnay barrels definitely kind of getting that dryness. Um, the brandy barrels, like I said, they're coming through a little bit, but the Chardonnay is still actually kind of leading the show um, with this one. Definitely getting those Chardonnay notes. And I don't know a lot about wine, but I have had Chardonnay before, and I'm definitely picking up those Chardonnay notes. I wish the brandy was coming through a little bit more on the palate, but it is there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's definitely there, just not as much as I might like it to be. This is a winner, guys. A solid beer. I'm gonna give it an A. I wish the head stuck around a little bit more. I wish the brandy presence was a little bit more, but the alcohol's masked well. The tartness is not overbearing. I mean, it's nice and tart. It's got that little bit of salt and that nice wheat breadiness that you expect from a Gose. It's really good. So I'm actually going to give this a 90 out of 100. It's excellent, but it's an A minus. They could have done a few things differently with this that I think would have really amped it up even more. Um, the brandy notes I would have liked to come through a little bit more. The tangerine is nice, but maybe even more of the tangerine notes, and a little bit more breadiness. I mean, I'm being nitpicky. It is an Imperial barrel aged Gose, so a lot of that barrel presence and the aging is kind of taking away from some of the other things, but it's still excellent nonetheless. So 90 out of 100 for the Line Creek Ain't Fraid of No Gose Imperial Tangerine, Episode 3 from Line Creek Brewing Company out of Peachtree City, Georgia. If you can find this in your area, definitely worth checking out. If you like Chardonnay, that's one thing too. If I liked Chardonnay a little bit more, this would probably be a 95, 96. But I'm not a huge wine guy. The Chardonnay barrel's coming through a little bit more than I would like. I would like the brandy to come through more than the Chardonnay, but it's opposite of what I would like to see in this beer. But still an excellent beer, 90 out of 100. That'll do it for this beer review, guys. I hope you're all having a great day. And until next time, everybody, cheers.